He promised forever, but his actions spoke louder. The day I caught him red-handed, ... Eleanor sat by the window, watching the rain streak down the glass, each drop a tiny mirror reflecting her anxieties. Her fiancé Ben was due home any minute. They had been together for 5 years, and he had proposed just 6 months ago, a romantic gesture on a moonlit beach. He had promised forever a future filled with love, laughter, and shared dreams. Eleanor had believed him wholeheartedly. Ben was charming, attentive, and seemingly devoted. He was everything she had ever wanted in a partner. Lately, however, a subtle discord had begun to disrupt their harmony. Ben had become increasingly secretive with his phone, often taking calls in another room, his voice hushed. He'd started working late, his explanations vague, his eyes holding a flicker of something she couldn't quite decipher. He'd also become unusually irritable, snapping at her over minor things, then quickly apologizing, blaming stress from work. Eleanor tried to dismiss her growing unease, attributing it to pre-wedding jitters, to the natural anxieties of planning a future together. One evening, while Ben was in the shower, his phone buzzed on the coffee table. A message notification flashed across the screen. Eleanor, usually respectful of his privacy, felt an irresistible urge to look. It was from a contact simply named Kay. The message read, "Can't wait for our weekend getaway, my love. Counting the minutes until I'm in your arms." Eleanor's heart plummeted. Her breath hitched. Weekend getaway. Ben had told her he was going on a fishing trip with his college friends. Her mind raced, trying to reconcile the message with his story. Kay, who was Kay? And why was this person calling him my love? A cold, sickening wave of disbelief washed over her, followed by a burning, incandescent rage. The promises of forever, the dreams of their future, crumbled into dust. She quickly deleted the message, her hands trembling, and placed the phone back, pretending she hadn't seen anything. She needed to know more. She needed proof. She needed to catch him red-handed. The seeds of doubt. A love story unraveling the days that followed were a torturous dance of feigned normalcy. Eleanor, a woman whose life had always been characterized by honesty and transparency, found herself living a lie. She smiled, she laughed, she discussed wedding plans with Ben, meticulously choosing floral arrangements and tasting cake samples, all while a storm of suspicion and heartbreak raged within her. Every touch, every kiss, every casual endearment from Ben felt like a fresh wound, a cruel reminder of his deception. Her once unwavering trust in him had been replaced by a meticulous, almost obsessive, need for verification. She subtly checked his calendar, his emails, his travel arrangements. She found a confirmation for a cabin upstate, booked for the upcoming weekend. But the reservation was for 2, not for a group of friends. And the name on the second ticket was Catherine Kay. Catherine. The pieces clicked into place with a sickening finality. The vague explanations, the hushed phone calls, the late nights, they all coalesced into a horrifying picture of betrayal. Eleanor's internal monologue became a relentless interrogation. How long had this been going on? Was Catherine just a fleeting mistake, or a deeper, more insidious betrayal? Had their entire relationship been a carefully constructed facade? The questions gnawed at her, stealing her appetite, her sleep, her peace of mind. She found herself staring blankly at her reflection, a stranger looking back at her, her eyes hollowed by sleepless nights and unshed tears. She confided in her closest friend, Sarah, a pragmatic and fiercely loyal woman. Sarah listened with a quiet fury, her anger mirroring Eleanor's own. "You have to confront him," Sarah urged, her voice firm. "You deserve the truth." But Eleanor wasn't ready. She needed to see it with her own eyes, to witness the betrayal firsthand. She needed irrefutable proof, not just for herself, but for the shattered remnants of her belief in love. The pursuit of truth. A heartbreaking journey on Friday morning. Eleanor watched as Ben packed his car, his fishing gear prominently displayed, a grotesque prop in his elaborate charade. He kissed her goodbye, a quick peck on the cheek, and promised to call her later. Eleanor forced a smile, her lips feeling stiff and unnatural. The moment he was out of sight, she got into her own car, a rental she had discreetly arranged, and followed him, keeping a safe distance. Her heart a frantic drumbeat against her ribs. Ben drove north, out of the familiar city landscape, and onto a winding country road that snaked through dense forests. Eleanor's hands gripped the steering wheel, her knuckles white. The rain began to fall, a steady drizzle that mirrored the growing dread in her heart. She followed him for what felt like an eternity, the miles blurring into a monotonous rhythm of despair. Finally, he pulled into the driveway of a secluded cabin, nestled deep in the woods, almost hidden by the towering trees. Eleanor's breath hitched. This was it, the moment of truth. She parked her car a mile away, hidden among the trees, and continued on foot, moving silently through the undergrowth, her senses heightened by a terrifying mix of fear and grim determination. As she approached the cabin, she saw a faint light, emanating from the windows, a beacon of her impending heartbreak. She crept closer, her footsteps almost silent on the damp earth. She peered through a gap in the curtains, her eyes scanning the interior. The scene before her was a chilling tableau. Ben was not alone. A woman, tall and slender, with long blonde hair, emerged from the cabin, her arms outstretched. Ben embraced her, a long, passionate kiss that left no room for doubt. It was Catherine. Eleanor's world tilted on its axis. The air left her lungs in a ragged gasp. The images were grainy but unmistakable. Ben and another woman. The woman. He had been planning a weekend getaway with the woman he had been lying to her about. The woman he was cheating with. The promises of forever, now a cruel mockery, echoing in the hollow chambers of her shattered heart. She fumbled for her phone, her hands shaking so violently she almost dropped it. She managed to snap a few blurry photos, the flash a tiny, almost imperceptible flicker in the dim light. The images were grainy, but they were irrefutable. Proof. She retreated silently, her mind a whirlwind of pain and disbelief. She drove back to the city in a daze, the images of Ben and Catherine replaying in her mind. A relentless loop of betrayal. The confrontation, a shattered reality. Eleanor spent the rest of the weekend at Sarah's apartment, pouring out her heart, the tears flowing freely, a torrent of grief and rage. Sarah listened, her anger mirroring Eleanor's own, offering comfort and support, a steady hand in the storm of Eleanor's despair. By Sunday evening, Eleanor had processed the initial shock, and a cold, quiet resolve had settled within her. She was ready to confront him. Ben returned, looking tanned and relaxed, oblivious to the storm that awaited him. He launched into a detailed account of his fishing trip, the big catch he almost made, the hilarious antics of his friends. Eleanor listened, her face a mask of calm, but inside, a cold fury simmered. She waited until after dinner, until he was settled on the couch, scrolling through his phone. a picture of domestic bliss that now felt like a grotesque parody. "Ben," she began, her voice steady, almost unnervingly calm, "we need to talk." She laid the photos on the coffee table between them. His face, usually so composed, drained of color. His eyes darted from the photos to her, then back again. The silence stretched, heavy and suffocating, punctuated only by the frantic pounding of Eleanor's heart. Ben's initial reaction was a mix of shock and denial. He stammered, attempting to concoct a flimsy explanation, but Eleanor's unwavering gaze and the damning evidence left him no room to maneuver. His carefully constructed facade crumbled, revealing the desperate, cornered man beneath. He confessed, his voice barely a whisper, to the affair with Catherine, a colleague from work. He spoke of loneliness, of feeling neglected, of a momentary lapse in judgment. He pleaded for forgiveness, promising to end it, to do whatever it took to save their relationship. Eleanor listened, her heart a complex mix of emotions. The anger was still there, a burning ember, but it was now mingled with a profound sadness, a sense of betrayal so deep it felt physical. She saw the tears in his eyes, heard the tremor in his voice, but questioned their sincerity. Was this genuine remorse, or merely the fear of being caught, of losing everything? She asked him about the details, the timeline, the extent of his deception. He revealed a web of lies, carefully orchestrated alibis, secret meetings disguised as late-night work sessions. He admitted to manipulating her trust, to taking advantage of her unwavering belief in him. Each revelation was a fresh stab to her heart, deepening the wound. Eleanor realized that the man she thought she knew, the man she was about to marry, was a stranger. His promises of forever, once so comforting, now felt like a cruel joke. The future they had planned, the dreams they had shared, dissolved into a bitter, acrid dust. She knew, with a chilling certainty, that she could not marry him. The trust was irrevocably broken, the foundation of their relationship shattered beyond repair. She told him, her voice devoid of emotion, that it was over. Ben pleaded, begged, promised to change, but Eleanor's resolve was unyielding. The pain was too deep, the betrayal too profound. She watched as his face crumpled, his shoulders slumped, the weight of his actions finally settling upon him. He had promised forever, but his actions had spoken louder, irrevocably altering the course of both their lives. The path to healing, rebuilding a life in the aftermath of the breakup. Eleanor found herself adrift, navigating a landscape of shattered dreams and lingering pain. The initial shock gave way to a profound sense of grief, a mourning for the future that would never be, for the love that had been so carelessly discarded. She spent weeks in a haze, the world around her muted, her emotions raw and exposed. Her friend Sarah became her unwavering anchor, a constant source of support and comfort. Sarah listened without judgment, offered practical help, and simply sat with Eleanor, holding her hand, allowing her to cry, to rage, to simply be. She encouraged Eleanor to seek therapy, to process the trauma of betrayal, to begin the arduous journey of healing. Eleanor reluctantly agreed, finding solace in the quiet, empathetic presence of her therapist, Dr. Evans. Dr. Evans helped Eleanor to externalize the self-blame, to understand that Ben's actions were a reflection of his character, not a commentary on her worth. She taught Eleanor techniques for grounding herself in the present moment, for challenging negative self-talk, for cultivating self-compassion. Eleanor learned that her vulnerability was not a weakness, but a testament to her capacity for love, for trust, for genuine connection. Slowly, painstakingly, Eleanor began to rebuild her life. She reconnected with old friends, pursued hobbies she had neglected, and rediscovered her passion for painting, a therapeutic outlet that allowed her to express the complex tapestry of her emotions. She found strength in her independence, a quiet resilience that emerged from the ashes of her shattered dreams. She learned to differentiate between healthy remembrance and destructive rumination. She honored her past, acknowledging the pain and the lessons learned, but she refused to allow it to dictate her present or her future. She understood that true strength lay not in denying her pain, but in acknowledging it, in processing it, and in ultimately transforming it into wisdom. Forgiveness, once an elusive concept, slowly began to take root. It wasn't a sudden, dramatic epiphany, but a gradual softening of her heart. A quiet understanding that Ben's actions stemmed from his own brokenness, his own insecurities. She realized that his betrayal was not a reflection of her worth, but a reflection of his character. And in that realization, she found a profound sense of release. She forgave him, not for his sake, but for her own, freeing herself from the chains of resentment that had bound her for so long. Eleanor's journey became a testament to the transformative power of resilience. She was no longer defined by her past, but by her present choices, by the love she cultivated, by the purpose she pursued. She was a woman who had faced her deepest fears, walked through the fire, and emerged, not unscathed, but whole. A beacon of hope for anyone who sought to release the burden of their past and embrace a future filled with peace, joy, and authentic connection. The new beginning, a future unwritten. As Eleanor looked towards the future, she did so with a sense of quiet anticipation, a profound appreciation for the journey that had led her to this point, and an unwavering belief in the boundless possibilities that lay ahead. The past, though painful, had become a powerful teacher, shaping her into a woman of remarkable strength, wisdom, and compassion. The scars she carried were not marks of shame, but badges of honor, testaments to her resilience, to her capacity for healing, and to her unwavering commitment to living a life of integrity. Her career flourished, her reputation as a talented artist growing with each passing year. She found immense satisfaction in her work, knowing that she was making a tangible difference in the lives of others, guiding them through their own storms and helping them find their way back to the light. She continued to mentor younger artists, sharing her insights on navigating ethical challenges, on maintaining integrity in a demanding profession, and on the importance of empathy in the practice of art. Her relationships, though fewer, were now deeper, richer, and built on a foundation of honesty and mutual respect. She found love again, a quiet, steady flame that warmed her heart and illuminated her life. Her new partner, a kind and compassionate man named David, understood her past, honored her journey, and celebrated her strength. Their partnership was based on mutual respect, on open communication, on a shared understanding of life's complexities. They celebrated their joys, supported each other through challenges, and found solace in their unwavering connection. Eleanor's life was a rich tapestry, woven with threads of purpose, passion, and profound love. She continued to create, but with a renewed sense of balance, prioritizing her well-being, her passions, and her relationships. She found joy in the simple things: a quiet evening with David, a long walk in nature, a shared laugh with her friends. She understood that true wealth was not measured in material possessions, but in the richness of her relationships, in the depth of her connections, in the authenticity of her life. She knew that life would continue to present challenges, that pain was an inevitable part of the human experience. But she also knew that she had the strength, the resilience, the wisdom to navigate whatever came her way. She had faced the darkest corners of human deceit, the most profound depths of personal anguish, and she had emerged, not unscathed, but unbroken, a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit to heal, to grow, and to find joy even in the aftermath of heartbreak. Her story, once a tale of betrayal, had become a narrative of redemption, a testament to the transformative power of forgiveness, of resilience, and of the unwavering belief in the possibility of a brighter future. She was a survivor, a guide, a beacon of hope, and her life, unwritten and full of promise, was a legacy of love, of strength, and of the enduring truth that even from the ashes of despair, new life can bloom. The path forward was not without its challenges, but Eleanor walked it with a quiet confidence, knowing that she had the strength within her to face whatever came her way, and that she was surrounded by a love that was truly, profoundly real. Her journey was a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit to heal, to grow, and to find joy even in the aftermath of heartbreak. A beacon of hope for anyone who has ever felt lost in the shadows of betrayal.